Recently, I was a special guest on the Original Audio podcast. We talked about fashion, tech, and giving back to the community. Wanted to share a little bit of that with you.
Hey, listen, we were talking about Coachella, and we're talking about all the fashions, and we're
Yes.
talking about the artists, and then the surprise guest like J Lo came on last night, and
Yeah,
all
that
these
was
things. So,
exciting.
how does that fashion pop up sometimes affect the market, especially when we don't know what they're wearing? The fans go crazy and where they buy it since life is so instantaneous. Like, how does that work in the world where fashion meets music? Have you dealt with that in your world?
You know what? It's funny because fashion, well, we do Runway Latinx, and Runway Latinx is fashion, gastronomy, mixology, and entertainment. So
Wow.
definitely we've got, a little bit of all of it. Been doing it now. It's going to be the 8th year for this. And
Okay.
we'll talk about our history, Ricky, because we've known each other before that in fashion.
Yes.
But fashion works two different ways. I'm actually going to have a stylist on my podcast today, Chic
Nice.
Innovator, everybody. That'll be on a little bit later. But it works two different ways. So sometimes you've got these designers at the top, but what a lot of people don't remember or forget is that they're looking at what's happening out there. They're looking at the styles. They're looking at what's happening on the streets and getting those ideas, especially from young people. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people think it's top down, but most of the time it's, what's happening out in your community and looking at those changes, and then they adopt. And that happens everything from urban to even what's happening ethnically. Dior had a whole thing where they went to Mexico. They got a little criticized for it, but they went to Mexico Ricky,
I know.
and they went to some of the ethnic groups and looked at the embroidery, look at the way they were cutting designs and everything, and then adopted them and then started using them. So you've got a lot of designers really looking at what's out there. They adopt it, they tailor it. Obviously, the big thing at Coachella or any place else right now is vintage. Everybody's looking at
Mm.
vintage, and it doesn't have to be designer, and they're making it their own and they're tweaking it. Why? Because it's considered recycling, recycle up, right? And you're utilizing what you already have and making it. So it's good for the environment. It makes it easier for kids to really shop and get really creative. But no, it's not only, what's happening with the famous designers that we know. It's really what's happening in our streets and our communities, looking at that, because you got a lot of young people that are extremely creative. So, that's what makes it fun. That's what makes fashion fun.
That was the conversation. I was asking the guys. I said, "Listen, is it Coachella considered nowadays like if the like the runway of fashion in a different level? Street level, I would say.
Yeah, I think all of these big events that you go to are considered a runway. And I love the word runway, so we're called Runway Latin X.
On
And it's
purpose.
funny because on purpose, because it is a runway in your life. I think of my life as a runway. I'm walking out there, as a lot of people do. And so some of these big events, for those of us that are in fashion, are looking what's going in and what's coming out, because you're going to get some great ideas of what's coming out from there, how they're being dressed, how they're looking, the style that they're bringing out, the messages that they're sharing, what colors you're starting to see. And then you're going to see that applied, maybe not right away, but in the next couple of seasons. So it's fun. It's fun. All these big events, yes, they are runways.
You
You
know what I
guys
love?
are on a runway right now.
Well, you know what I love
That is
about
true.
what you've been able to do this past decade or plus is bring those international designers to the U.S. and showcase those Colombian designers, people from Mexico, Guatemala. You just spoke about a big show you just attended, and you bring
Yes.
those actual designers to the U.S. instead of seeing other companies that go without saying kind of capitalize and exploit a lot of our original designs from our countries
Yeah.
that we're born from. So I like to talk. I like you to speak on that. Like, what got you into bringing those international designers to the forefront?
Yes.
Yes. So we do a little bit of both. Let me just give you a quick background. I own a tech company as AAR Tech, and I've had that for a long, long time. But I've been involved in fashion for many, many years. My dad was a tailor from Mexico, turned designer. We actually had like 40 to 50 people sewing his clothes when I was a kid. He had one of the first Spanish-speaking programs, and I was a kid and I was on the program, so I am a mini dad, if you will. He's passed away since, but actually it was the year that he passed away when I started getting involved with Runway Latinx, with Latino Fashion Week at the time, and then now Runway Latinx. So it's, for me, it's giving back. It's trying to create a platform where a lot of people that should be seen and heard, you know, get an opportunity to do so. On the international side, I think local designers, they should have a runway, but also one of the way for all of us to grow is, hey, the world is flat now, right? We're all communicating with each other all over the world. It's not even just in the United States, but all over the world. And the way to get inspired, the way to make a profit, because this is a business, is that we've got to connect. And so I love some of the ideas that I also see in other countries. I travel to other countries and get invited to other countries to see what fashion is going on out there. And so the exchange of talent, for me, is extremely important. It opens up many doors, both for those that are coming in and showing their fashion, showing their design, showing their style, giving ideas on even how to do business a little bit different, which I'm always looking for as well, as then they connect with the people, either Chicago or some of the other major cities that they go to. We've been out in Dallas, Ricky. We've been in Miami with you, LA, etc. They connect, and then the business grows, right? You work with each other, collaborate with each other, and make it grow. That's what, for me, that's what life is about.
Let me ask you a question. What is one of your favorite cities that you like to do business with, as on the fashion side of things, besides
Oh my
Chicago?
goodness. Yeah, besides Chicago, I mean, every city's a little bit different. Miami's always fun, less clothing, a lot of swimwear, a lot of resort wear, right? It's a different look. I mean, we're talking about Coachella in LA, so you have, you know, the California, the West Side, you've got a lot of celebrities out there. So you're dressing a lot of celebrities. The stylist Rachel, who I'm having on later, she's from Chicago, but she works with a lot of big celebrities out there. Texas is big, right? Texas, everything is bigger, shinier. So I love all of it. And then New York, you know, New York, if you want to sell, that's where the big buyers go from the bigger stores. So a lot of people, you know, go to New York for that. It's changed. All of the fashion weeks have changed. I enjoy going also to other countries as well. And so I've been everything from Argentina, Dominican Republic, Mexico's Fashion Week, which is off the charts. Their Mercedes-Benz. And then just recently I was sharing with Ricky, if I may, that I went to Guatemala.
Of course.
And it was not what I expected. I went to Guatemala Fashion Week and I thought, oh, I'm going to be VIP, get to see a little fashion. It was incredible because they had several fashion weeks that participated. So they had Puerto Rico Fashion Week, Bogota, Medellin was there, El Salvador was there, Nicaragua. You know, they had all these fashion weeks, and I loved it because we got to share and became a familia, and we will be working together.
That's amazing. That's
What do you guys
amazing.
say, Acapulco? You know, he's fascinated with Colombia. I mean, period. Just
I
period.
I don't want to say I'm fascinated. I appreciate it. You know,
Okay.
it's a healthy appreciation of Colombia and what it has to offer. So just to hear that, you know, how everybody is coming together for the sake of fashion and just coming together in general is dope. I like your statement about the world is flat now. You know, that statement, I mean, it just gives me a visual of the ability to really connect and communicate. And you said adopt, and I want to believe that everyone is simply adopting and then getting into the space of fashion and business to promote and push, you know, each and every culture when it comes to fashion. So I think that's dope within itself. So that's awesome.
No, and it as it should be, right? As it should be right now.
Yeah.
And entertainment definitely plays a role. As I mentioned, we include entertainment obviously in what we do every year. And it's fun because some of the designers sometimes bring entertainment. I think Ricky, we're going to hopefully work together this year and have. But the other Yeah, yeah. The other part of it, I think, is we bring in a lot of influencers to our event from all over the world. We live stream all over the world and have been doing this for quite a while. Again, because to me, it's very important to connect the dots. I think the other big piece is that for the young people, you know, that are getting into these industries, entertainment, fashion, all of it is the same, I think. They've got that artistic flair. We've got to widen the opportunities for them. And the way to do it is, number one, the way we're doing it right now, we're all talking to each other, exchanging ideas, making it grow. But also, again, understanding that the world is much bigger than just, you know, who's outside your door.
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And fellas, and people watching right now, she's also graduated DePaul University of Law.
My question was how, you know, like the law, you're an attorney. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to call you because I have some problems over here on my side.
So the
But
only one
that's a conversation for another day. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
okay,
No,
okay.
so my question was like, how
Yeah.
has your law degree helped you when it comes to the fashion side of things?
So I don't use it so much on the fashion side, to be honest with you.
No contracts, none of that stuff.
The only one that can call me is my mom. That's the only one. Solo mi
Really?
mamá, solo mi mamá.
Mami, ¿dónde está esta
No.
noche?
But when I decided to go into law school and everything, I was going to be starting my tech business.
Okay.
And I wanted it to support me in that area. And I also remember I'm a woman, and it's not equal. Sorry, guys, but it's still not equal. I would love it for it to be equal for us, but it is not. That is not true. And so as much as you can prepare yourself for whatever you're going in, and law degree, I highly encourage women especially to get that. But it also levels the playing field, because the industries I'm in, tech and even fashion, the guys who run the ship in fashion are still mostly men. But it changes the tone when they know you're well educated in that particular area, and that you're going to be very thorough about your negotiations, you know, and you're going to read your contracts very well and understand your positioning. So in that instance, it has helped me on the tech side. And I guess indirectly it also helps because, you know, we do get into a lot of contracts on the fashion side as well.
Sure,
So I hope
sure.
that answers your question.